All right, man, peace. So the star running back of the Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott, has recently been all over the news due to the NFL suspending him for 6 games for allegedly physically assaulting his then girlfriend while in his senior year of college at Ohio State. Let's see what they have to say. Of course, I'm going to chime in.
We're looking at the injury photos of the woman who claims Ezekiel Elliott beat her up last year. Injuries to her face, to her arms, to her shoulders, to her hips, to her hands. Despite the fact that Ezekiel Elliott says it's just not true. Welcome to TMZ Sports. Evan here with Michael J. Babcock.
What's up, Evan?
By now you know the NFL suspended Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games after an investigation into an alleged series of abuse to his girlfriend last year starting in July.
Let me say this. I really hope that he did assault that woman. I really do. I hope that he did assault that woman, and I'll tell you why, because I would hate to think that he's going to be suspended for 6 games for something that he didn't do. So I truly hope that he did do that, and I hope that if he did do that, assuming that he did do that to the woman, that it will be the tipping point for him to finally regain control of his life and start to look at himself as a precious commodity and not a throwaway, because he's living life very recklessly right now. He's making a lot of bad decisions consecutively, and he's just not prudent. So I hope that he really did put those marks on that woman and that he is responsible for that, because if he's not, it will still allow him to remain in denial. It will allow him to develop a self-victimization mentality. And it's not going to be a good thing or a productive thing for this dude. So I hope that he did do that. If you were to ask me, do I think that he did that? I doubt it. Just looking at those so-called bruises, it very easily also could have been just some crazy broad who picked up an iron or a book and just hit herself. I mean, I would think that a man that size and that strong, if he was intent on hitting her, the bruises would be much more pronounced. But you never know. Some of these guys who are experienced in hitting or beating on women, they know where to hit them. You know, I don't know. But if I were to be a betting man, I would say that his woman is crazy. There's a history of her sending threatening text messages where she states that she's going to ruin his draft prospects because she realized that she was going to get left. This is why I always tell brothers, man, gotta be very, very circumspect in the type of female that you're dealing with. All right. Always pay close attention when you see the woman at her worst in stressful or adverse situations. All right. Pay very close attention, even though you want to be there to assist your woman and relieve some pressure and whatever she's going through. Also pay very close attention. Look at how she conducts herself. Look at how she treats other people when she is stressed out, when she feels like she is in an adverse situation. Pay very close attention, because however she treats them, it's how she's going to treat you. All right? It is what it is. But, the interesting thing is, I remember very vividly when this man was coming out of college, he made a great show of how much he was against domestic violence. So either he is an extreme hypocrite or an extreme victim. And if he is a victim of this woman, it's a shame. Either way, it's a shame.
Absolutely blockbuster news. The best player on the most famous team in the NFL suspended for almost half of the NFL season.
Yeah, but now Ezekiel Elliott is saying the whole thing is not true. He's saying the investigation is wrong, and he's digging in for war against the NFL. So let's start at the beginning. In July 2016, Ezekiel's then-girlfriend, Tiffany Thompson, says that he beat her up multiple times starting on July 17th. Incident number 1, at her apartment in Columbus, Ohio. She claims that Ezekiel got physical with her and caused injuries to her arms, neck, and shoulders.
I'm trying to figure out, what type of physical altercation was he in with her where she got all those bruises on her hand? Did he take her hand and smack it like she was a little child? That's why I say, to me, a lot of those bruises seem to be indicative of somebody who was harming themselves to take photos that she could show the police. Like I said, there's already a track record of her sending threatening text messages alleging that she was going to hurt his chances in the NFL. Brothers, man, look, man, be very, very careful. There's a reason why there's a saying, there's no fury like a woman who's scorned. All right? Be very, very careful. When you cut ties with these women, that you understand what you're doing. I mean, hell, man. Shit, when you making ties with these broads, know what you doing. You know? These broads are crazy, deranged.
2 days later, July 19th, the NFL says there's evidence that he attacked her again, causing injuries to her face, arms, wrist, and...
I mean, I see a lot of marks that look similar to some damn mosquito bites. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what type of damage was he doing. Was he grabbing her by her arms firmly? Those don't look like bruises that are indicative of somebody who's getting their ass whooped. Like, I'm just sorry. We've seen different type of bruising on females before who've been in those domestic violence situations. Those don't seem to me to be bruises that are indicative of those type of altercations. I mean, somebody who's been through that experience would have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't see it. And the female, just looking at this photo, she looks like she's about 115, maybe 120 pounds, depending on her height. You know, one would think that if she was in a domestic violence dispute with Ezekiel Elliott, you know, who's probably about 210, 215, maybe 220, at about 5'11", one would think that she would have much more pronounced bruising. I'm just saying, you know, I have a feeling that the police that investigated the case suspected the same thing, which is why they did not bring up charges. The NFL right now is an optics league, meaning what? They're more worried about how things look than how things are. All right. They'd rather give somebody a long suspension and have him appeal it, and then they can cut it down to a game or two, than only give him 2 games. And then these pictures come out right after they give him 2 games and they look bad like they did in the Ray Rice situation. So that's really all it's about. It's about optics. And also allegedly they've done a lot of digging and a lot of homework, and some of the things that some things have occurred that Ezekiel did not fess up to, allegedly.
Wrist and hands. Then 2 days after that, July 21st, the NFL says there's evidence.
I'm still not seeing shit. I'm sorry. I don't even see mosquito bites on this broad's hands.
There's evidence that shows Ezekiel got physical with her a 3rd time.
What am I supposed to be looking at? That brown shit nearby her armpit? I mean, shit, some of these broads don't bathe for 3-4 days in a row. I don't know what that is. That could be some funk.
3rd time, causing injuries to her face, neck, arms, knees, and hips.
Tiffany claims
I'm looking at those bruises. She easily could have went home like that crazy broad did in Gone Girl. Just took an iron and clanged it against her forearm. These bro, hey man, look at Fatal Attraction. A lot of these chicks are crazy.
He put his hands on her 3 times in a 5 or 6 day period.
That's right.
Also, he was just, I guess that was part of his training for the NFL season, huh? He go, lift some weights at the gym, come home, do some push-ups, do some cardio, and just whoop his girlfriend's ass to finish off, huh? Right before he take a shower? Come on, man. I'm sorry, I'm not believing it. Like I said before, though, I hope that this is the tipping point for him to walk circumspectly and see himself as a very valuable commodity to himself, not even to the Cowboys, but to himself. And that's the thing, man. A lot of brothers, they make bad decisions because they don't value themselves properly.
That's right. She went to the police. She called 911. We actually have audio of the 911 tape to police. This is what she said.
I called earlier about a domestic violence report, and I was just wondering, the dispatcher asked me if I wanted an officer out on scene right now, and if there is any way that I can have an officer out on scene. I was going to wait until tomorrow to report it until he left.
And we said it's domestic. Is this your boyfriend, husband, baby, child, father?
My boyfriend, and he's been doing it for the past 5 days.
And you said he hit you? Where did he hit you?
All over.
Yeah, make no mistake about it. She's adamant that Ezekiel Elliott abused her or battered her over a period of 5 days.
Right. It sounds like somebody who's scared on the phone, who's worried for her safety.
Please. That bitch ain't sound scared. She sound like she's ordering a damn pizza. Yeah, I just called about 15 minutes ago. I just wanted to add some pepperoni. Get the fuck out of here. She ain't sound scared. These people are something else. But you know what? Hey, the type of broad that you deal with is going to affect the situation that you go through in life. A lot of these broads, they say, oh, who is this bitch that just texted your phone? No problem. And call up the cops. No, nah, this man is all fucked up.
and has just had enough.
Now, prosecutors did not press charges on Ezekiel Elliott. They investigated this whole situation, but they decided not to press charges, claiming there were inconsistencies in her story and they did not move forward.
Right. There were some witnesses whose stories didn't back up Tiffany's account.
Right. Now, of course, the standard for prosecution is much higher than the standard for the NFL to mete out discipline. So they launched their own investigation, and they believe that there was substantial evidence that he abused this woman. So they suspended him for 6 games.
No. They believe that there's substantial evidence that if they don't suspend him, if they declare that they're dropping the case, or if they only suspend him for 1 or 2 games, that this woman is going to release those photos to the press. She's going to release those photos to super liberal networks like ESPN, and the NFL is going to get raked over the coals. That's all this is about, is optics. And they say, we're going to beat it to the punch. We'd rather give him too many games than not enough. He can appeal. We'll call up Jerry, and he can appeal it. And then we'll just bring it back down to 2 games.
And they said that if there's another incident in his NFL career, they would consider banning him for life. So he's facing, serious consequences for
Right. And not only is he going to miss 6 games this season, but like you said, they've really thrown the gauntlet out there and said, if you screw up one more time, this very promising NFL career that you're going to go on to have might not happen.
Yeah, the only problem is Ezekiel Elliott is denying any of this happened. His attorneys say that Ezekiel is extremely disappointed with the NFL's decision. He's vowing to appeal this whole thing, and he's saying that the NFL cherry-picked so-called evidence to support its conclusion while ignoring other critical evidence. So
Well, they're an entertainment league. They're not the FBI. They're not worried about compiling all the evidence. They're worried about what can possibly make them look bad. And this is what I try to explain to a lot of the internet revolutionaries about Kaepernick. The NFL they're not a league that's heavily involved in the social engineering aspect. I mean, other than, for making money. They get involved with the NFL, and they get involved with the homosexual agenda in regards to having their players wear pink. All right, and they claim that it's for breast cancer. That's basically what they're involved in. They're not really concerned with how they're going to look if they help or aid in castigating one male athlete. Right now, as I've stated over and over again, the so-called black male is at the bottom of the liberal totem pole. They'll throw you out, they'll throw that baby out with the bathwater with no problem. All right. There's always another Ezekiel Elliott coming along. And a lot of these guys don't realize that until they're doing a 30 for 30 on them 25 years from now. And they're looking stupid.
Evidence. So he's basically saying the investigation is wrong. He's not a domestic abuser, and he's going to fight this thing tooth and nail.
The way that Ezekiel Elliott's reps have answered back is one of the strongest denials I have ever seen. They said that the findings are replete with factual inaccuracies and erroneous conclusions, and like you said, they cherry-picked evidence. They are adamant that this did not happen, and he should not be suspended.
Well, I don't believe that he did anything either, but if he's guilty of anything, it's for making consistently bad decisions. And when you make consistently bad decisions, even if you don't do anything particularly wrong, eventually you're going to have to face a certain judgment. You're going to have to face a certain discipline. So, I mean, it's just over and over and over again with him, whether it's the car crashes, whether it's the bad choice of women, whether it's pulling this woman's breasts out at one of the Mardi Gras parades, whatever parade that was. This guy's name is always out there involved in something asinine. And you have to understand, you're not Gronk. They're not going to allow you to be the life of the party. Right? When you're a so-called black man like that, you're always under surveillance. That's just the bottom line of it. So Jerry Jones, of course, also has to chime in on the Ezekiel Elliott situation. Ezekiel Elliott is a prime piece of property of Jerry Jones. So, of course, he wants to make sure that his property is being properly taken care of and is allowed to maximize the earning potential that Jerry Jones has already prognosticated for it. All right. Please understand, these owners look at these players as like how they would a stock option.
As you can imagine, Jerry Jones is furious about this. Word out of Dallas is that he is stewing. He's very upset. He's upset with the league. He's upset with Roger Goodell. He did not expect Ezekiel Elliott to get a 6-game suspension.
The Cowboys are one of the...
God damn, this man looked like he died 5 years ago and they just gave him some type of transplant from a 5-year-old black boy and just brought him back to life. This motherfucker like he been dead. God damn.
one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, and now they don't have their best player for the first 6 games. So you bet that Jerry Jones is not happy with it.
But Jerry Jones is also a guy who usually gets his way and thinks he carries a lot of weight.
Jerry Jones is one of the most influential owners out of any of the owners in the NFL.
And also is the owner of the most lucrative franchise in all of sports. Believe me, Roger Goodell just didn't say this. He spoke with Jerry a while ago and said, Jerry, this is what we're planning to do. Jerry knew about this from before he was allowed into the Hall of Fame. All right. He knew about this already. And he already knows about how the ritual is going to go. They give Ezekiel more games than they're supposed to. Jerry Jones makes a big show of it. They say, OK, no problem. We'll cut it down to 3 games. That's pretty much how it's going to go. They have to appease the super liberal women and the super liberal sports media.
He was under the impression that there was not enough evidence against Ezekiel Elliott to warrant a suspension. As a matter of fact, we shot him in Beverly Hills just a couple of days ago, this week.
Yeah, he's out in Beverly Hills trying to get some hoes. Jerry Jones don't play, man. Jerry Jones be out there getting more hoes than the players. I'm just out here to get me some pussy, That's all I'm looking for. And, I'm out here with Michael Irvin and my guys. We get us some pussy.
And we asked him straight up, do you think that Ezekiel Elliott will get suspended by the league, will get punished? He was very clear. Take a look.
Do you think Ezekiel will be suspended at all next year? No?
One word answer, no. He did not expect this. And by the way, the word out of Dallas is that he felt blindsided by this. He was not happy. He's very upset. He's looking to take some action.
Yeah, leading up to this week, too, Evan, I spoke with people who were very close to Zeke on his rep side, and they said also they expected no NFL punishment, so they were all blindsided by this decision.
Yeah, so now it's up to guys like...
How could you not expect any NFL punishment when they went so long in levying the verdict? You had to know that something was going on. Basically, the NFL has had this information for a long time, and they've been vetting it. And they've basically just been weighing in the balance whether or not the evidence was substantial enough that they could disregard it or not. And I think that they realized that they couldn't once they saw the pictures. If she didn't have pictures, they probably would have been let it go. I'm sure that the NFL saw these photos since before he was even drafted. All right. And if it wasn't before he was drafted, it was right afterwards that they saw those photos. No doubt about it. No, because if there were no photos, they would have been said, you know what? We haven't found anything. He's basically been exonerated.
Guys like Darren McFadden, Rod Smith, and Alfred Morris, who are the backup on the depth chart to kind of take over for Ezekiel Elliott. Look, the situation with Lucky Whitehead happened a couple of months ago. He's gone. Now they're dealing with Ezekiel Elliott and this drama here. I mean, craziness for the Dallas Cowboys right now.
This changes everything about the season. I don't know if there is any other player besides, say, a Tom Brady that you could lose and it could be worse for your team. This is just bad all around. Bad.
I don't know about all that. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I think that Dallas has a good enough offensive line and a good enough running back by committee that, they should be able to weather the storm until he comes back, especially since I'm sure that they're not going to give him 6 games after the appeal. It'll probably be more like 3.
For their image, marketing, tickets, it's an awful situation for the Dallas Cowboys.
Let me just rewind something back.
Cowboys right now.
This changes everything about the season.
Look at Jerry all up in that man's ear. Now, Zeke, when you mess with these hoes, you gotta really be careful because it's gonna reflect. Let me give you my room key. When you find a good hoe, you bring her right back to my room, and when you finish with her, you leave her there, and I'll come back and take your sloppy seconds. But you can't be running around here just being wild. I mean, you got a lot of cases, you got things piling up. Got to make sure you're here for a whole season. That's what I'm paying for. I need you around. Okay? Do we understand that? Because right now I'm working with Goodell, and Roger's already saying he wants to give you 6 games. I said, okay, well, we're going to appeal. Well, after we appeal, we'll cut down about 2 or 3 games. And I just need you to be ready. All right? Put on a good act. When they bring down that verdict, put on a good act shocked. I'll take care of the rest. All right? But just remember what I said about those hoes. Because you got some game. I'll see you in the streets. I see you out in these streets. And I got my guys following you. And, I like me a young hoe or two. But, little Jerry don't work how I used to. So I need me some pills. But, when you get a chance, send me some hoes my way. I need some. Anyway, make sure that you practice like we need you to practice. Thank you.
season. I don't know if there is any other player besides, say, a Tom Brady that you could lose and it could be worse for your team. This is just bad all around, bad for their image, marketing, tickets. It's an awful situation for the Dallas Cowboys.
They got Ezekiel looking like a Catholic schoolboy there. Oh, man. Some of these brothers, man. Anyway, I wish Ezekiel the best.
So the NFL investigation has capped off a horrible offseason for Ezekiel Elliott.
An offseason of his own doing, of his own choosing. And he's going to have to, be held accountable for his bad decisions. Bottom line.
That's been packed with terrible off-the-field behavior, not even alleged stuff, like stuff that happened on video. Starting back in March 2017 when Ezekiel was at a St. Patrick's Day parade in Dallas and reached up and grabbed a woman's top and pulled it down while drinking a beer. Now, this also struck a chord with the NFL, who investigated this incident.
Once again, and I covered this the last time I did the Ezekiel Elliott series, the woman pointed to both her breasts, which were rather perky, by the way, and then pointed to Zeke. And I mean, Zeke was drunk. He was celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Ain't none of them women on that boat nuns. I guarantee you he took every last woman that was on the boat, he took them back to his hotel room. I promise you that. All right? And he showed them, like I said before, he showed them his four-leaf clover.
Incident. They actually reached out to the woman, they interviewed her, and they considered this incident when they punished Ezekiel Elliott because they believe this was a violation of the personal conduct policy with the NFL.
That bro don't even remember what the hell happened. She don't even know Ezekiel Elliott from O.J. Simpson. The hell out of here. That bro was smashed and then she got smashed.
And also it shows a pattern of bad behavior from this guy that they're trying to correct.
Right,
Well, it showed a pattern of a lack of prudence and poor judgment. All right? Have your fun, but do it in private, especially, knowing that the spotlight is on you right now. God used a little bit better judgment, but there was nothing wrong in and of itself with what he did there. That's part of that act of revelry. If anything, I mean, it's funny to me. People don't mind them attending these wild pagan festivals and parades, but then when they do what people do at the parades, they're bad for doing it.
A lot of people felt that this was sexual assault in itself. A lot of people were very upset that he did this to that young lady.
And like I said, like I mentioned this before already, the St. Patrick's Day is known as St. Patrick's Day, or the St. Patrick's Day parade was known in the ancient world as the Liberalia, Liberalia. That was in celebration of the god Bacchus, or as he was known in Greece, Dionysus. All right. He was viewed as the person who was the sin bearer. Right. That was a name for Nimrod. OK. Once again, Nimrod is the left-handed version of Christ. Please understand that Shem, Ham, and Japheth were all taught that there was going to be a Messiah who would come to overcome the sin of Adam. And that's one of the things that Ham did. Was Ham and Cush, they raised Nimrod to believe that he was the Messiah. Okay? That's why Nimrod did some of the things that he did. He was under the delusion that he was the Messiah, that he was there to be the light bearer or the light bringer to the world, to all nations. Okay? That's why he did what he did. But as the Bacchus, he was known as the god of wine and revelry. And the Liberalia was also celebrated around that time period, March 16th, 17th. But instead of the four-leaf clover that they use today, they used the ivy leaf back then. And I've gone over this before. That's why one of the symbols for the higher level institutions in America is known as the Ivy League. That's in celebration of the god Bacchus. That's why when you graduate from college, you get what's known as a bachelor's or a baccalaureate degree. Okay? The laurel of Bacchus. That's what the university or the college system was set up in. The modern day universities, they're just a current manifestation of the Babylonian mystery school system. Okay? In the ancient world, you did it in the groves. What is a grove? It's when you would go out in the woods, under trees, and you would worship the rituals of the mother goddess and the father god and their son, Cush, Semiramis, and Nimrod. That's why when you send your children to an academy, the word academy comes from a Greek word, akademia. It means a grove. Okay? There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. But yeah, that's all this St. Patrick's Day was. It was a St. Patrick's Day, just a modern day version of Liberalia. They take all the ancient festivals and holidays, they give them a different name, and they act like it's in celebration of a so-called saint, and they have you celebrating that silly shit. All right? Every last one of these holidays go back to something in the ancient world.
Young lady.
But also in July of 2017, just a couple of weeks ago, he was allegedly involved in a violent situation at Clutch Bar in Dallas where...
Damn, laid somebody the hell out. Shit. Got that man in the fetal position. Probably sucking his thumb.
Where witnesses say he punched a man in the face. Now, apparently, cops have suspended the investigation because they can't get in touch with the victim. But again, another situation connected to Ezekiel Elliott. Not a good look for the running back.
Right, multiple witnesses told us they saw Ezekiel punch the DJ in the face.
Yeah, before that, he was involved in a minor car crash in January 2017.
And see, that's the worst one to me. Because I could see you getting mad after punch somebody in their damn face by acting stupid. But all the car accidents, like, dude, come on, man, get a driver. I mean, shit. Get a driver, especially since you one of them partying dudes. You know, get a car and get a driver. Get a little partition. You bring the broads in the back. You have your fun with them while dude drives you around. What's the problem?
Where he allegedly blew through a red light. Before that, if you go back to December 2015, he was involved in a car accident in which he was allegedly driving on a suspended license. So here you got a guy who's...
Just dumb shit. Get a driver.
Who's been a superstar in the NFL for only a year, and he already has a list of things going against him. It's not a good situation for him. The question is, can he recover from this and still become a superstar in the NFL?
He can recover from it if he wants to. It's all up to him. Once again, brothers, your life is in your control. All right, don't ever think that your life is out of your control. As long as you're alive, you have a chance to redeem. So, don't despair. Do what you need to do.
Well, a lot of people are saying no, but I'll point to one person who actually did it, and that person is Ben Roethlisberger. Remember, in 2010, Ben Roethlisberger was accused of raping a woman at a Georgia nightclub. Remember?
No, that motherfucker was raping. He was raping chicks, plural. Chicks. With about 500 S's after the CHIC, all right? Allegedly. What Ben Roethlisberger was doing his thing, allegedly. Okay? But he had the Roonies. He had the Roonies backing him. They were not going to let him get locked up. Plus, he's a Caucasian, so-called Caucasian, so they protected him. All right? They redid his image. They got him in an arranged marriage with a beta sex kitten, to make him look like a family man. I'm sure he's still doing his thing in regards to, certain women, but most likely they're supplied for him now. That's what they do that's what they do. When I say they, I mean the elite. They help you out. If you have those type of proclivities, they say no problem. All right? Remember the movie The Gladiator with Russell Crowe? When a dude comes to him after Russell wins one of the matches, he says, "What can I get for you? What do you like? Little girls, little boys?" That's what they do for top athletes. Right? Whatever these guys like, they get supplied with. If they like little boys, little girls, if they like rough sex, if they like raping women, those owners will help them out. Right? As I covered previously with the LA Dodgers back in the 70s, Tommy Lasorda, a high-level MK handler, right? The Dodger Diamonds, right? He would have little girls lined up or grown women lined up for his players. After the game, they would get to have sex with those women, right? Who were mostly monarch sex kittens. It's what they do. But anyway, allegedly.
Remember, he allegedly had his bodyguard...
See, I even got this dude saying allegedly.
...guards kind of lure this woman into a bathroom where he then sexually assaulted her.
See, what did he say? He said Ben had his bodyguards lure the woman into the bathroom. There you know, that's what he likes. I'm going to rewind it.
A woman at a Georgia nightclub. Remember, he allegedly had his bodyguards kind of lure this woman into a bathroom where he then sexually assaulted her. She went to the police. It was investigated. Criminal charges were not filed against Ben Roethlisberger, but the NFL investigated him, and they ended up suspending him for the first 6 games of the 2010 season. He appealed that, and the suspension was reduced to 4 games, and the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger ended up going to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, and let's face it, people love Big Ben now. Nobody even brings this incident up anymore. He has totally recovered from it. I don't think it's going to be the same for Ezekiel Elliott, though. That was all pre-Ray Rice. Things are different now. No. They're not going to compare Ezekiel to Ray Rice. That broad got some damn mosquito bites on her. I personally don't think he did anything, but who knows? Who knows with some of these guys?
who put their spirit and idolize the woman. Who knows? End up just beating the hell out the bro. That's what I always say. All these guys talking about the woman is God and the woman is a goddess. Those always end up being the guys whooping a woman's ass. Instead of just saying, okay, no problem. We not getting along. Why don't you head on out? Don't let the doorknob hit you in the ass on your way out. All right, they can't do that. They got to body slam a broad on the bed and all that craziness. But I personally don't think Ezekiel did anything, but who knows? He could be a whole different person. And he does show that he's not properly in control of himself.
After Ray Rice, people are always going to look at Zeke, no matter how great he plays on the field, as somebody who put his hands on a woman who could not match his physicality, and that doesn't sit right with anybody.
Well, a woman's not going to be able to match the physicality of a man. That's not really the reason that hitting someone unprompted is wrong for the most part. All right, you have to see things coming before they come, and extricate yourself from that situation. If you're in Ezekiel Elliott, you have too much to lose. Right? Not even going into a man hitting a woman, all that all that jargon. It's really about the decisions that you make in life. If you're a man and you hit another man without proper cause, that's just as wrong as hitting a woman. All right? You're not supposed to put your hands on somebody else without proper cause. But anyway, Ezekiel's going to have to learn from this situation. They are going to rake him over the coals, but it's something of his own doing, so he's going to have to deal with it. Anyway, peace.